During this video, I ask that you please challenge me in the way that I'm about to challenge you. And when we have this record player of thought patterns that we think is correct, we don't allow for open dialogue and different perspectives to come in and be able to allow critical thinking to happen. I hope that what I'm about to share allows people to think outside the box. If you want, challenge me in the comments. I don't mind being challenged. And let's have an open discussion regarding what I believe is honestly the dangers of a lot of these movements. So let's move forward and be respectful to each other in this matter, because a lot of people are really fucking sick and tired of a lot of this stuff. And I am one of them. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are living in a time where hashtags have turned into movements, and movements have turned into mobs. While some trends aim to address real issues, others spiral into chaos, leaving destruction and division in their wake. It's time we hold these movements accountable, not just for their intentions, but for their outcomes. Today, we're putting these trends like BLM and anti-Israel rhetoric on trial. So, take Black Lives Matter. When we began as a call for justice, quickly developed into riots, looting, and violence in cities across America. Businesses were burned, livelihoods were destroyed, and yes, innocent people targeted. Let's talk about the white man in the wheelchair set on fire in Minneapolis during the riots. What justice was served there? None. Instead, we saw an innocent life treated like collateral damage. And that is not the only person that was targeted because of people feeling very passionate about BLM and targeting innocent people who had nothing to do with what happened. Now let's examine the rise of anti-Israel movements. Criticism of a government is fair game, but when that criticism turns into attacks on Jewish communities, synagogues, and even children who are Jewish, we're no longer dealing with activism. We're dealing with hate crimes. Last year alone, anti-Semitic incidents in the U.S. hit an all-time high, many fueled by trends masquerading as advocacy. Excuse me, but if you're outside of a synagogue and you're out there harassing children, something's really fucking wrong with you in the head. Many of these movements thrive on emotion and ignore facts. People jump on the bandwagon without asking basic questions. What are we supporting? Who benefits? What happens next? Instead, they repost a hashtag, show up at a protest, and feel like they've changed the world, while chaos unfolds around them. Racism, inequality, and global politics are complex issues, but we've boiled them down to sound bites and slogans. Defund the police, a slogan that left crime rates soaring in cities like Portland and Minneapolis. Free Palestine, a rallying cry that's been twisted into excuses for violence against Jewish people. Ignorance is no excuse for destruction. Again, let me repeat that. Ignorance is no excuse for destruction. Who pays the price for these trends? It's not the influencers or the celebrities who promote them. It's the everyday Americans who lose their homes to riots, who fear walking their neighborhoods, and who see their communities crumble. It's small business owners, black and white, whose stores are looted in the name of justice. These movements claim to fight for unity, but they divide us even more. Instead of working together, we segregate ourselves. Let me say that again. We segregate ourselves. If you think that yelling in somebody's face and going to a place where they feel safe and going into their their business and destroying it and going up to them in the street and making them feel attacked is going to bring unity, you are wrong. You are segregating people. We are segregating them by race, religion, and ideology. We are going backwards now in history. We are not taking steps forward. Instead of dialogue, we throw bricks. Instead of progress, we get polarization. Let me yell that for the people in the back. We get polarization. Let's not forget the media and political leaders who fan the flames. Riots are called peaceful protests. Violent rhetoric is excused as passion, and anyone who disagrees is labeled an enemy. Leaders who should be calming tensions are stoking them for views, votes, and clicks. This is true. This is true. When politicians are too afraid to call out dangerous trends, they enable them. When the media glorifies chaos, it normalizes it. And when the public buys into the spectacle, we all lose. The evidence is clear. Movements like Black Lives Matter and anti-Israel rhetoric, while perhaps starting with good intentions, have caused harm, division, and destruction. The guilty verdict isn't just for the movements, but for the ignorance and complacency that let them spiral out of control. America is better than this. We don't need trends that divide us. We need solutions that unite us. Movements that build, not burn, and leaders who lead, not inflame. Until we hold these trends and ourselves accountable, we'll continue to see justice replaced by chaos. And one thing that I also want to talk about is I understand the passion, but it seems like a lot of this passion is led by ignorance, where we ignore actual facts on the other side or this side. It's almost as though people crave chaos and division. It's almost like a lot of people enjoy this, and they like to be divided, and they like to be angry, and they like to be mad. And I've been there. And all it does is suck the soul out of me and out of you. You can be passionate, but have an open mind to all perspectives. Hate isn't just a weapon, it's a poison. It doesn't just hurt the person you aim it at, it slowly destroys the person that is holding it. What we are doing to ourselves and to each other and to our world when we let hate rule the conversation. Again, what are we doing to each other, to ourselves, and to the world when we let hate rule the conversation? Any thoughts? Anybody that wants to challenge this or let me know what you think, please do. I don't think a lot of these, I'm just going to be blunt. I don't think a lot of these movements are helping. And I don't think it allows people to really understand. For instance, I'm just going to give a for instance. Recently at Oxford University, they did a very in-depth conversation where one side was trying to prove, I can't remember the word, I'm so sorry, but they were trying to talk about Israel and whether or not Israel was like, I can't remember what it's called, I'm so sorry, brain fart. But the point is that during that conversation, the people on the other side were booed, cussed at, yelled at, spat at. Even one of the guys who is actually the son of one of the Hamas leader who got out of that lifestyle, he was trying to be silenced. They had to come in with 7 bodyguards because of people threatening them. This is what I mean by a lot of these movements getting to a point where it's too much and you've gone too far to the point of hate, where you do not allow for open dialogue, other people's thoughts, and critical thinking. You, if you are one of these people, are your own worst enemy, and you are going to continue to go down a path that isn't going to help you because you're not open to hearing somebody else's real life experience. Isn't that all we ever want, is for somebody to hear our real life experience, what we've actually been through, and to maybe potentially validate that? Your feelings are valid, but they aren't always right. The way that you feel now and the emotions you feel is real, but that doesn't make them always right. Take this from somebody with complex PTSD. My feelings are not always right. They are understood. They are there. They are real, but they're not always in the right. And when we have these places like Oxford University and people trying to come in and do a debate, and these debates turn into people yelling and screaming at the other side because they don't hold the same opinion, that's a problem. And that is divide, and that is not unity. I would suggest for people to go and watch the Oxford University debates, and to also watch one of the gentlemen, I believe his name was Jonathan. He was on the opposite side of the spectrum, where they were trying to kind of stand up for Israel. And he ended up downloading an unedited video, and also was allowed to get the audio of the, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry for forgetting these things, but the son of the Hamas leader, and his verbal speech. They weren't able to get the video, but they got his verbal speech. So I ask that people please go listen to all of those, to both sides, form an opinion that is not hateful, but maybe, confused. I'm confused. This is a very confusing topic. Palestine, Hamas, Israel. There's a lot that is going on there, and it's more than just Palestine and Israel. There's all these other countries like Egypt, Jordan, all these other countries that have something to do with this whole thing and this whole situation. So please challenge me. Tell me what you think in the comments. Are you sick and tired of these movements? What do you think is the best way to move forward? I rest my case.